It's everyone's least favorite time as a wrestling fan. No, Brock Lesnar did not win the Royal Rumble. No, Logan Paul did not win the World Championship. Even worse, it's that time of year where the WWE has to start cutting costs and they release talent. The last time this happened, we lost Baron Corbin. We lost Dolph Ziggler, aka Nick Nemeth. First up, we lost Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, the Good Brothers. While this does not come off as a huge surprise because they have not been featured on the main roster in a long time, they have been making rounds in NXT. They had matches with Fraxium and they were pretty good. I remember a pretty good match with NQCC. And while admittedly I am not a fan of Luke Gallows as a wrestler, Carl Anderson was cooking. I remember after a couple of his matches, people were going crazy saying, oh my god, he popped off. I remember after a couple of his matches, people were going crazy saying, oh my god, he popped off. It is sad to see though. They had a really good run in the OC alongside AJ Styles. They got murdered by The Undertaker, and they were part of some pretty big moments, albeit part of AJ Styles. But both of these men have huge ties to New Japan. I am sure that once the 90-day contract ends, you'll see them in AEW or most likely, and I'm hoping, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Next up, we have Cedric Alexander. This one hurts. Genuinely. I love Cedric Alexander so much. This man cooked so much. This one surprised me because, sure, we haven't seen him on the main roster in a while, but he was absolutely cooking, torching, dare I say, lighting a flame on NXT. He was with Trick, Javon Evans, all these big players. Cedric was there. While I am very sad we won't see him anymore, I do hope that he ends up at a company that can actually use him better. But right now, the obvious choice that everyone is talking about is AEW, mainly part of the Hurt Syndicate, because we already have MVP, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin. Throw in Cedric Alexander as well. It'll be the full reunion that we never knew we wanted again. But Cedric Alexander will always be sensational to me. I still play him in the 2K games. He has a crazy pile driver, cruiserweight legend, and I have no doubt he's going to be an absolute legend in the Indies. Next up that was very confusing is Isla Dawn without Alba Fire. Isla Dawn has been released from her contract, which doesn't make sense to me because she's a tag team. Isla Dawn stayed, Alba Fire is still there. I'm assuming this means now Alba Fire is going to be a singles player now. But Isla Dawn was literally a big part, 50% of the Unholy Union. They had an amazing, heartfelt win in Scotland during Clash of the Castle. This is sad to see, but I'm excited to see where she ends up as a single star, or maybe she teams up with someone else on the Indies. The world is her oyster right now because she can truly start her own thing now. Next up, we have the Authors of Pain, Akam and Razor, and Paul Ellering. This one is both a surprise and not a surprise whatsoever. AOP is, without a doubt, a legendary NXT tag team. They're really good in NXT, and back in the day, I would have sold my soul, my firstborn, my left testicle, and everything just to see AOP versus The Shield. But unfortunately, I do think this is because they just don't have the sauce anymore. And we can't even say they didn't get TV time because they had a big WrestleMania match where Snoop Dogg was the commentator. But they never connected with the fans. And they were just small parts of the Karrion Kross story. I do see these boys hitting up AEW, hitting up TNA, and making a name for themselves there. Personally, this affects me because Akam is an Indian wrestler. Actually, he's like the last Indian wrestler. He was the last Indian wrestler in the WWE. And as an Indian, I do feel sad. There's no more representation. But this opens up the door that he can just make a bigger name for himself in the wrestling world. As for Paul Ellering, I'll be honest. He was just there. He just walked on TV, collected a paycheck. Have I heard him ever speak since he showed up with these guys? No. Has Scarlett done more than him? Yes. Paul Ellering was just a bald dude who was there. He wasn't even a manager on the Final Testament because, again, Scarlett fit that role perfectly. So this, again, sucks that he's out of a job. But as wrestling fans, what did he do? And as a wrestling fan, I understand Paul Ellering is important to the world of wrestling in the history. But right now, what did my man do? Other than just wear glasses and be bald. He didn't do the most he's ever done is just catch hands from the wide six. Then he was off TV. We haven't seen him. Hopefully he helps AOP in the indies as their manager. Maybe they can be a little AEW faction. I don't know. Next up is the one that breaks my heart the most. Genuinely, I am not shocked he got released. I am not even shocked that they did it now. I'm just shocked by the whole situation. Giovanni Vinci has been released by the WWE. They buried my man like he was Mick Foley. They buried my man like how I thought they buried Undertaker a billion times in real life. My man's career was buried so long, trees started growing on top of it. But just look at the timeline, alright? In April of last year, he got kicked out of Imperium. And apparently this is because of personal beef between him and Ludwig Kaiser. Because Vinci tried making a move on Tiffany Stratton, but Tiffany is with Ludwig. So Ludwig went to his boy, Papa H, Paul Levesque, like, yo, he started cutting on my Tiffy time. So this separated the group. Fine, you know what, personal beef happens, they're professionals, they can still be in the same company. Nope. First, he gets moved to a SmackDown. We don't see him on TV for 5 months. And then we start getting sexy Giovanni Vinci vignettes in his Italian playboy, like, oh, mozzarella, ho ho, Ferrari, ho ho ho. Bella ciao. I can't do an Italian accent, I'm sorry. Then he has his return match and loses to Apollo Crews. Then he has one more match and loses to Apollo Crews. And then we see him backstage with Carmelo Hayes. And he gets clapped. Then he's off TV for a while. Apparently he's done a few dark matches and a few matches on main event. And gets clapped. Until today when Nick Khan just lassied him. This sucks to see. Giovanni Vinci is phenomenal. If you haven't, look for his NXT matches. Bro was a gem. Had a big future. But what are you gonna do? I don't know why. I feel it in my heart of hearts that now Giovanni Vinci could either be a big player in GCW or New Japan Pro Wrestling. I could not tell you where exactly, but that's just what I'm thinking. But again, we'll have to wait 90 days. But that goes to show you, bro time is much more important than Tiffy time. Bass so loud, I can feel it in my skin. I want to see you drop, 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 drop. Also, Tiffany Stratton's music just sucks. I'm sorry, it's awful. Def Rebel, get fired, please. Next up, Blair Davenport. This one is rough because she was so good at NXT. She was ready for the call up. She got called up and I was like, yeah, cool, this made sense. But she's done nothing. She's had like, what, 2 matches? Whooped in both of them. Had a few backstage interactions. Led nowhere. Apparently she was backstage at the Rumble. Nothing happened. And boom, she got cut. I think this sucks because she could have been amazing fighting for the US title, the IC title, maybe go to NXT, fight for the women's mid-card title right now. Because right now, that one's just coasting right now. And it could use the push of the main roster like Blair Davenport. Tony Khan will probably throw her a bag. And I think she could do really good there. But they just need to build her an actual character. Next up is Sonya Deville, which I didn't see coming. Sonya is currently in charge of PFC, the Pure Fusion Collective. Terrible name, by the way. She was featured almost weekly on WWE television. She was at the Rumble and they were wrecking hell. Is she the best in-ring worker? Not by a mile, but she was pretty good on the mic. And she was good as the leader of PFC while Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler did all the dirty work. It should be noted that she wasn't released. Her contract just was not renewed. So we don't know right now if that was on her end or on WWE's end. But right now, what I've seen on X, formerly known as Twitter, is that she's kind of gearing up to go to AEW once her 90 days are over. And I wish nothing but the best for her, because she's pretty good as a character worker. And just as I'm filming this, Elektra Lopez just got released as well. This sucks because she was just on TV. She was just on TV like yesterday. She was just on SmackDown. She was great with Santos Escobar. But kind of like Paul Ellering, she hasn't done much. But I want to talk about something very important real quick. I see a lot of people saying, oh, this is a race thing, this is discrimination. I don't see it as that. As someone who's literally lost their only representation in the WWE in AEW, I can tell you, I don't think this is a race thing. I think it's because Nick Khan is literally a no BS CEO. And he has to stick to a budget for the shareholders. I actually hold 2 shares in WWE. I am the shareholder. No, Nick Khan, you bastard. You fired Vinci for me. But all jokes aside, TKO and WWE, they have investors, they have shareholders that they have to benefit. It's a publicly traded company. And if the board says they want to add 5, 6 something million extra to the quarterly earnings, it has to happen. And the way to do that is to release people who aren't providing return, because that's how you're going to reach your quarterly marks. Anyone in business can tell you this. This isn't a, oh, WWE bad company, Tony Khan forever, ah. No, it's simply just the business they're in. And it's sacrifices like this where they have to get rid of talent to keep the company afloat, to keep the company on top to where it is right now. And while releases suck, it's great for the independent wrestling market, because now they have new wrestlers, new big faces from the big leagues coming in. It adds to their legitimacy. That's why we as fans should go and support the independent wrestling. If you live in Calgary, Stampede Wrestling is phenomenal. In Ontario, they have the Maple Leaf Wrestling. In the US, you guys have billions. GCW, Backyard Wrestling, everything. So if your favorite wrestler has been released, you can still support them. Buy their merch, stream the shows that they're on, go buy a ticket, because not every talent will be phenomenal in WWE. And if they get released, that can either be a chance that they can reinvent themselves and go back like Drew McIntyre did, or find a new home like Ricochet did. It sucks, it's part of the business, but you know what? It happens. I genuinely hope nothing but the best for all these wrestlers. So if your favorite wrestler has been released, you can still support them. Buy their merch, stream the shows that they're on, go buy a ticket. Because not every talent will be phenomenal in WWE. And if they get released, that can either be a chance that they can reinvent themselves and go back like Drew McIntyre did, or find a new home, or they get released and they find a new home like Ricochet did. It sucks, it's part of the business, but you know what? It happens. I genuinely hope nothing but the best for all these wrestlers. But for Wrestling Digest, my name is Mehtab. I'm sorry for this terrible angle. I'm still getting my stuff set up again. But I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.